Having agreement on a shared vision and goals and strategies that are clear and that are realistic, and that's what your strategic plan is all about, and you'll be going into that into more detail. Participants must see collaboration as being in their own self-interest, in the self-interest of their particular institutions and libraries. Members in a collaborative effort must share a stake in the process and its outcomes. Certainly the model that was set by PLP in how they went about doing the strategic plan was a very inclusive model, and hopefully you have a stake in the success of PLP. And members share a mutual respect and understanding of each other, and I think that pretty much goes without saying that you have that mutual respect, trust, and understanding, or you probably wouldn't all be here in this room today. But the climate only goes so far. The climate is something that you and your staffs need to take advantage of if you're going to maximize this leverage and make the use of PLP the role it was intended to serve. You're going to have to be willing to compromise, and that can be difficult. We all have our, whether we consider it a proprietary system or we all have the way that we like to, do back office functions. Collaboration is about compromise, and I think we've come to the point where if there are significant cost savings and we can still get our basic interest met in something by merging a function, by eliminating some duplication and redundancy, by coming together, you're going to have to swallow that more, probably, and really have to gauge the value of continuing to spend money on something because you're very attached to it when there's another way that can essentially meet that function. Communicating frequently and openly, both formally and informally, among personnel. That's something that you have to encourage, and you really have to push that down throughout your systems. You need to get the different library disciplines, whether it's the children librarians or the literacy folks, within your systems. They need to start networking and having dialogue so that PLP is seen as a part of the fabric of the delivery of your library service. It's not just something that the director, meeting a director goes to once every quarter, but PLP becomes a vehicle for exchanging information, for sharing knowledge, for improving the quality of service. You're going to have to be adaptable, able to sustain collaboration in the midst of major change. We live certainly in a world that's characterized by change, and I think one of the components of the 20th century model of local government service delivery has been it's been fairly static. We do business this way because we've always done business this way. And again, looking out at some of the clients we're working with, I see some people starting to push the envelope on a lot of things that have been sacrosanct in terms of things related to staffing on fire apparatus is probably a good example. So you're going to have to be adaptable and accept changing models. You're going to have to make an investment of significant or sufficient resources to make this venture work. And as a manager, since that's where most of my experience is, but also in 10 months as a consultant, I think the biggest reason why efforts like PLP fail, why collaborative efforts fail, once they're established. You got all kinds of political hurdles in different areas to get things established, but once you have made a decision, you've formed an organization, and you're moving forward, the biggest reason for failure is the failure to invest enough to allow that organization to succeed, to fulfill its function. That's hard to do, but again, I think with the PLP model and the ability of PLP to look for opportunities for leveraging revenue, that can help. I think developing a realistic funding plan that can fulfill the strategic plan is a very important ingredient to make this work. And I think leadership by library management, and that's directors and that's library managers, is critical to the success of PLP. And you know, I think making some of the changes that are probably essential to being relevant and continuing to maximize service in the 21st century, some of those may be uncomfortable to you in terms of the changes that you're going to be asked to make, or uncomfortable to your managers. But you know, even in the face of that discomfort, I think you're going to need to demonstrate leadership and a willingness to try things that are uncomfortable. Some things are going to be unpopular. You know, you have stakeholders back, you know, whether they're patron stakeholders or employee stakeholders, you know, that are locked into a particular manner or method of doing business. And you know, as you start advocating for changes, you know, using PLP as a vehicle, you know, you're going to get some pushback and may not be the most popular person around. So, but that's what leadership is about, is being able to have a vision of what's good for the community, the patrons in the future, and being able to provide leadership in the face of difficulties. So I think I'm going to, you know, stop there. I think we have some time for questions, to the extent that I can respond to any questions. I know the next segment of the program, Jane and Linda will present the strategic plan. You know, this is a plan that is grounded in the climate that you operate in today, and this is a plan that is a blueprint for you to take advantage of this climate to truly leverage your resources during these difficult times. And the strategic plan that has been developed represents a significant amount of work by PLP staff, by PLP executive committee, by, you know, people in the organizations that responded to the surveys throughout the 4 systems. So you've made a significant investment in developing this strategic plan. And you know, PLP is a worthwhile venture, and a venture that has tremendous opportunity for great value. So I think you're positioned now, as a result of a lot of hard work and thoughtful planning that has gone into the development of the strategic plan, you're positioned to take this plan and have that be the engine, if you will, that propels your organization and your individual libraries, because that's what this is about, supporting individual libraries to drive that forward, to maximize resources and maximize your ability to serve your communities with the limited resources that you have. So I'll make myself available for questions, and thank you again. It's really a pleasure to be here today, and said as management partners, we're very proud to have been a part of helping support the development of the strategic plan.